Before I start today, I wanted to shout out Sam Rogers 8997. Epic thanks to you for the encouragement and the super thanks. These are actually the very first I've received on this channel as far as I can see. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I love your comments. I like the first one that you say thanks. That's absolutely wonderful. And then you say thanks for all you do. Love the show and content. Keep going strong. Treat yourself to a nice coffee. And I replied, wow, I really appreciate this. I promise to buy some good coffee with this. Have a nice day. Tell you what, after this video, I am going to head to a cafe and I'm going to buy myself a nice big Americano and in your honor. Thank you very much for that. Okay, now I want to talk about retail crypto, right? Because retail FOMO is what usually moves the market in one way or the other, because institutions, well, they can, first of all, they can buy off the market. So a lot of the stuff that's bought by institutions is bought OTC. So OTC markets. The second thing is institutions don't really necessarily FOMO. So they have targets of when they go in and when they exit. They also have a lot of money. So, you know, they're not in a hurry to try and make profits in the same way that retail does. Third thing is, of course, institutions have a lot more information and they're not often moved by the same emotional triggers that move retail. Retail, on the other hand, I like to say I like sheep. And sheep often move in herds. And not only do they move in herds, they also need a shepherd, right? And last bull run, I think one of the shepherds, if not the shepherd, was Elon Musk, right? So Elon Musk would say something, tweet something, and the herd would do something in response. I think Elon Musk probably created thousands of millionaires via Dogecoin or Shiba Inu, or the FOMO that was created in those coins by things that, you know, Elon was saying in his post on Twitter at the time. Now, most of those things, if any, have actually materialized. He mentioned Tesla accepting Bitcoin, for instance, and then he pulled the rug on that, and that caused movements in both directions in Bitcoin. Elon has been a little bit quiet this time, and one of the secondary shepherds that I like to call him from last bull market, even though he had a massive impact on the bull market, he didn't actually directly get involved in crypto, right? I don't know if you remember the whole sort of short squeeze thing that happened that basically kicked off some of the, or added some fuel to the meme coins last bull market. And now this bull market, when meme coins appear to actually be leading the runs, this guy is back again, right? And he had this live stream where over 500,000 people tuned in to watch. And people were expecting something to happen, pump in memes or whatever. I think people were just waiting for him to say something about memes in crypto. The thing is going to explode or what have you, right? There was some movement in memes. But again, what this demonstrates is that people are waiting for permission. Retail anyway, they're waiting for permission for someone to say, go ahead and buy this coin so they can all FOMO in. And retail isn't really that concerned, I find, in fundamentals, in what's actually going on in the back, the work that's being done by maybe even the foundation or the company or the NGO or whatever is associated with their crypto, right? The infrastructure. Now, if people were worried about infrastructure and reliance and stuff like that and security, then Solana wouldn't be pumping so hard, right? XRP would be pumping hard instead. If people cared about legal standing and regulations and things like that, then they wouldn't be going so hard in on these meme coins, right? Because, you know, these meme coins are one step away from a rug pull. If the founders or the team behind these meme coins decide to rug pull, it'll be gone in seconds, right? Another thing I wanted to mention was that we're pretty much just now waiting for the United States to get their act together to get the bull run properly on the go. Today, I can see that the market has dipped a bit. I have no idea why, but I suspect it has something to do with somebody about to speak in the United States, because there's a lot of uncertainty in what's going on in the United States. And the world always follows on what the United States does at the moment, because we're all reliant on the US dollar, and the United States Fed, the unelected body that's controlling the entire planet by, you know, their printing machines. Having said that, I believe Canada, as well as the European Central Bank, has cut interest rates, and they have done so recently. And this signifies a positive step. Normally, the European Central Bank awaits the United States and responds to what the United States does. But it seems as though the United States, I'm not saying it's losing influence, but the other central banks are no longer waiting for the Fed to make their move. They've looked at the data. They've thought, well, that's enough for us. We're going to start to cut. The same thing is happening in Canada. And I think a lot of more countries are going to do this. And I think it's only a matter of time before the US itself does the same thing. I believe that they got some not so good reports in terms of jobs, and it didn't match what the Fed was looking for. But again, those job reports are probably not what they seem. They're probably not full-time jobs, for instance. An increase in jobs might just be the same people doing multiple jobs, which is terrible. So it's not like people are being more employed. It could just be that they're not, full-time jobs. It could, people working 2 hours, 3 hours a day, or a couple of days a week or whatever. But the European Central Bank thinks otherwise. The European Central Bank, ECB, has cut interest rates by 25 basis points, lowering its deposit rate to 3.75. It was at 4%. This has been at a record high and saw the ECB joining the likes of Canada, Sweden, and Switzerland in lowering rates. So Switzerland is a big one, of course, and as I said before, Canada. They've had enough of the rate hikes, and this is the first time that they've done that, most of them, since the beginning of the pandemic. So I think the ongoing effects of the economic damage that the pandemic did are starting to relieve a little bit, right? It says, however, the bank wasn't to be drawn on any further moves. Interest rates decisions will be based on its assessment of the inflation outlook in light of the incoming economic and financial data, the dynamics of underlying inflation, and the strength of monetary policy transmission, it said in a statement. The Government Council is not pre-committing to a particular rate path. Okay, so they're not going to say, they're not telling us that they're going to keep cutting, or they're not giving us a schedule beyond which they'll cut to a certain amount. But at least it seems as though that the trajectory is downwards now, right? I don't see them hiking prices or pausing for too long now, because the economic indicators are improving, at least in Europe and Canada, it would seem. So basically, I think the outlook for crypto this week is interesting. We might see a sideways movement again for Bitcoin. I don't see anything fancy happening this week, to be honest. People have been predicting a correction to 50,000. I don't believe that's possible. If it were to happen, obviously that's going to have a devastating effect on alts. XRP is a stable coin anyway, so it's not going to affect it much. I don't think XRP is moved too much in either direction, which is a good thing when we're dipping. Not a great thing when we're pumping, of course. But I think it's going to be a relatively boring week for crypto this week, with not much movement either direction. Again, I could be wrong. I'm not an analyst. I'm just an enthusiast like you. And of course, as usual, none of this is financial advice. Do your own research, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.